Hello, everyone. Welcome to another incredible, spectacular episode of Agents in the Trenches, the real life struggle of real estate agents in this new market. And not only the struggles that they're facing, but we are bringing the solutions. We're bringing the guiding light to those agents that are out there looking to survive this market. But the good news is this: you don't just have to survive this market, we can literally help you thrive in this market. And to kick off this conversation today, which is going to be super, super interesting because it's the real raw truth of what's happening to agents in this new market, I am going to bring in my running partner, Dalia, this morning. How are you this afternoon, this evening, whenever you are watching us? Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing, Dalia?
I am doing good. Hanging in
Excellent.
there.
Excellent. So, listen, today we're going to talk about, we've been having a lot of conversations with different agents that have raised their hands, and, an amazing group that has said, listen, I want to partner up with you guys in the project for the open house, right? The joint venture that we're doing for open houses. Then we are also having conversations with agents that are raising their hands and saying, tell me more. Tell me more about this mentorship program. And when we are getting into the conversations with them, we're finding out that they are feeling stuck. They're feeling stuck. And when I say that, I get the vision, I get the impression of, looking at a, let's say a truck, you know, a pickup truck that is just spinning its wheels in the mud, just spinning its wheels, trying to get out of, the mud, but it's impossible. No matter what gear you put it in, no matter what velocity you kick it into, no matter what you do, it's just spinning its wheels. And that's the impression that I get when I hear agents say, I'm feeling stuck. Tell me more about what you have heard agents share in that concept.
One of the biggest things that I hear is that transition from being an employee to being a real estate agent, right? When you're an employee, you have structure, you have things you have to do, you already have an idea of what it is that you got to get done to complete the day, right? And you have some sort of thing to go off of, whether it's a checklist or something that your employer provides you that you know that you're getting the stuff done and your day is going smoothly. So it's that transition and not having it. I think that's another,
Mhm.
that's one of the biggest reasons why real estate agents feel like they're stuck, because they don't really know, they don't have a roadmap of what to do and how to get to where they want to go. So let's unpack that a little bit if you like.
So, what do you think is holding them back from having a daily method of operating or a timeline, a minute by minute?
Maybe they don't even know where to start. Maybe they
Okay.
don't know the difference between admin work and income producing activities, right? Because that can, maybe you might feel that income producing activity is responding back to an email, right? Oh, I'm talking, so I think it's maybe differentiating the two might make someone a little confused.
So let's break it down. When you first got into real estate, what did you think being, so there's busy and then there's productive, right? There's busy and then there's productive. So what would you say when you first got into real estate, you felt you needed to do to stay busy?
I was in that training. I remember when I first got into real estate, I was in that training mode. I was like, okay, I need to, EXP offers a lot of training online. So I'm like, I need to consume as much of this training as possible so then I can start. And I felt myself getting stuck there. I was stuck in that training mode because I never felt like I don't know enough to actually get started. So that was my biggest thing. So maybe that might be an issue, being a new real estate agent, you might feel that same way. Because I have spoke to agents that are in the same boat, and I always say, and I remember you telling me, like, don't get stuck in that training mode. You have to start implementing. And I think maybe the fear of not knowing it all might stop someone from implementing and transitioning from training to implementation.
And I love the fact that you touch on the training mode. So yes, we get into real estate and there's a lot of things that need to get done. Here's the first thing that I can tell you. You know, there's agents that get into real estate, and like we were talking yesterday, they think that a YouTube video is going to be enough to get them prepared for the real life situation, right? Yesterday we were at one of our listings, and I said to you, I said, look, there's so many good ideas that people have, but they're not acting on them. And the secret sauce is acting on those ideas and those inspirations that you get on the spot. And I think we even talked about, in what you and I do together, right? We talk about become a do it now kind of person. Become a do it now kind of person. And I think that there are some skills that real estate agents are not understanding that they need to have. And one of them is become a get it done now kind of person. It sounds simple. I mean, we can even drop that in the chat for people to read afterwards, whether you're watching us on live or on replay. It is the agents that get into the mindset of get it done now, that are really going to scale in this market, because time waits for no one. Days become weeks and weeks become months. And then all of a sudden, just like we are now, your first quarter is gone. We are now into the second month of the second quarter. And it's one thing if you're building traction. It's one thing if you're building traction and building momentum, but it's another thing if you are just spinning your wheels. And, it is simple, but it's not easy. If you wake up in the morning, guys, if you wake up in the morning, if you are one of those agents, team leaders, brokers, business people, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the concepts that help real estate agents make it in business, it's the same concepts that help business people make it in business. It doesn't matter. The business doesn't matter what you sell. The product and service doesn't matter. What we are talking about is the methodology that is used. And it's interesting that most people want to wake up at 8 in the morning and then start thinking, what am I going to do today? I'm going to wake up at 8 in the morning. I'm going to wake up real early at 7:30. As a matter of fact, I'm going to break the clock and get out of bed by 7 a.m. Most people are into their third or fourth morning routine or daily method of operating by 8 in the morning. And yet, we have to call a thing a thing. So are we running our morning like a miracle multi-million air producer morning, or are we running our morning like a average, low income producing, wing it kind of person? So I'm going to wake up at 8 in the morning and I'm going to then decide what am I going to do that day. By that time, it's too late, don't you think?
Definitely.
I remember when I used to tell my mentor, he used to say, um, I wake up at 4 in the morning, and I used to tell him this, like I was so ignorant. I mean, you got to reach a point in your life where you look back and you say, oh my God, how ignorant of me, right? I just didn't know what I didn't know, and I didn't understand what obviously he understood. And he would say, I wake up every day at 4 in the morning. And I said, what? You wake up every day at 4 in the morning for what? And he goes, Lucy, when you're running a business, there's a lot of thinking that has to take place. There's a lot of planning and a lot of thinking and a lot of thinking and a lot of thinking. And he says, I wake up at 4 in the morning. And mind you, he was not, by no means was he a new generation entrepreneur, but he was a very savvy, smart, I mean, GOAT entrepreneur. He was the greatest of all time for his era. So he obviously would not practice what we would call today your miracle morning. But to a certain point, he did the things that he knew he needed to do to be successful. And he was very successful. But waking up at 8 in the morning to think, what am I going to do? Um, I mean, there's people that are still in their PJs at 11 in the morning. I would have like an itch. I would have an itch. Like I would be itchy if I
Yeah.
was still in my PJs at 11 in the morning. Maybe I'm not normal, I don't know, but how do you do that? How are you still? Look, I watch top producers and I admire them for their grit. I admire them for their grit. I admire them for their relentlessness. I admire them for their resilience. I admire them for pushing through, not wanting to do something. And I think you're at that level now. Like you've learned to push through not wanting to do something. Let's talk a little bit about that.
I laugh because yes, it's a daily thing. Like it's literally a daily thing to push through that. I have to do it. I have to get it done no matter how I feel, you know. And I almost, I almost think about like my position, without getting into too personal, but I don't have time. I don't have time to mess around. So every day, every hour counts, and I want to make sure that I have it. I do everything to the max. I mean, I remember I'm looking back at the other day. Actually, I was looking back at the beginning of my real estate career and how much time I wasted, of thinking that I was doing something and I wasn't, talking myself out of, doing the things that I knew needed to get done, and just pushing that fear out, right? And or to the
Mhm.
side, because you can't really push fear out. You're always going to have it one way or another, but pushing it to the side so you can get it done. I mean, I wasted so much time, and I'm like, I don't have any more time to waste, so I have
Right.
to constantly push myself.
And so, what is the difference now? What is the differentiator? What is that differentiator between? Because listen, everybody feels the same way. We hear Coach Michael Burt say it. He goes, I don't always feel like doing what I have to do. I'm sure every coach that we can speak with would say the same thing. So, what is the difference now? How do you push through? What is that secret formula?
Well, I mean, I just think of that mental, Coach Burr also talks about this too, and I don't remember the exact terminology he used, but it was about that mental subtraction. That was something that I live it. I'm like, okay, I have to do this, otherwise I may potentially lose my car, or I may potentially lose my house. So I have to put myself in, that subtraction in my head. Otherwise it's, I'm gonna keep pushing those tasks to the side and say, oh, I can do that later, or I can do that tomorrow, or I can do that. So I think that's, put shifting my mindset in that sense, and kind of putting a little bit of negative, so like that can, I can actually act on positive, right? Because I know if I do this, it's gonna help me later on.
Right.
So I hope that answers the question.
And the question, it really has no right or wrong answer because everybody has to process their feelings and emotions in a different way. The bottom line is that you have to push through. There's something that I see a lot of people practicing, and you see people scaling, you see people thriving, you see people just being, just taking it to the next level. And sometimes we get the hallucination. Tony Robbins calls it a hallucination. We get the hallucination that, oh man, their life is perfect. Oh man, they've got it all together. Their life is perfect. um, you know they have some type of secret sauce, some type of secret formula. And in reality, I just think that they have stacked it up differently. So I'm at a point where I am understanding that for me to be able to perform at a higher level, I have to be more intentional about everything that I do. And you hear people say this over and over and over and over again. But I don't know how many times it takes you to hear something until you finally start doing it. But I can speak for myself. And that's why I say there's no right or wrong answer. It's all a matter of results because I've been doing this for over 23 years, right? This thing called real estate, from an agent to a team leader to a broker manager to a broker owner to now running multiple real estate companies in the real estate arena. And I watch the top producers, and the higher they go, the tighter their morning ritual is. So,
Mm.
for example, I don't know if you've heard this. I want to ask you. There's a lot of conversation on physical health right now, and health and wellness, and exercising every day, and how that is having an effect on the way we think, the way we feel, the way we perform, on our discipline, on our stick to itiveness, sticking through with things, sticking to things, pushing through it. Have you heard any of that conversation in the arenas that you've been in? And tell me what you've heard.
No, now more than ever, especially since my fiance is now in the fitness industry. He tells me what he hears when he's in, training and stuff like that, and the people that he's learning from, and they say, like, I mean, it's more than the act of doing the physical training and, training your body, but you're also training your mind. You're also healing yourself from stress, because that's a huge healer for stress, is, moving, doing something active, and how much of a mental toughness it just provides. I mean, there's so many benefits to, you know, training and fitness and health.
So I started last year. I've been on a quest for several years now, to wanting to reach my best physical health, right? And we're talking about being stuck, but stuck is not just being stuck. Listen, if you're stuck in your business, you're stuck somewhere else. My coach, John Chet Black, who I've learned from since 2015, he says whatever is happening in private is going to show up in public. So being stuck, and we're talking about real estate agents in the trenches, their struggles, their real life struggles. If you're stuck in your business, you're stuck somewhere else as well. If you're not disciplined in your business, you're not disciplined somewhere else in your life. And it was funny because I've been hearing him say the same thing for, oh my gosh, 8 years. And then finally, I am actually in the midst of what he has been talking about. I am in the element of what he is talking about. I am experiencing what he is talking about. So, what gets in the way of your morning rituals? Because morning rituals is the beginning of our stuckness. And yeah, we'll push through it, but there's a difference between pushing through it and flowing through it. And I think we need to get to the point of flowing through it.
Yeah, that's true. So I think, and we kind of discovered a little bit about this not too long ago, where, your morning starts the night before. Um,
Yes.
and I have been going to sleep a little bit earlier, still waking up. I'm pushing my time back little by little, because I think overall, when you're used to doing one thing, you have to break out of the habit. And they say, what, it takes like 30 days to actually change a habit. So little by little, is pushing back a little bit, but I think that ultimately it's just doing it, like just telling yourself, okay, you have to do it. Time to wake up. Do something, whether it's like jumping jacks for like 2 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just getting into the momentum, even if it's something small. So I think it's just, telling yourself you have to do it and just getting it done.
Right.
That's what stops someone, I believe.
And it's funny because we all go through it, but definitely the more you can master. I remember when I first started, I started in 2020, when I began my transition from my former real estate, brand, and what I'd been doing for 20 years. I mean, now when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, breaking out, breaking free, and rediscovering and redesigning and reinventing and repositioning and relaunching from a place that you've been in for 20 years. I totally underestimated it, but I'm glad I didn't even know it was going to take as long as it's taken. And yet I've been able to accomplish a lot, right? Because I'm wired that way. I
Mhm.
am wired to be just like that Tonka truck. Like, listen, as long as I've got gas, we're gonna push through this. We're gonna get to the other side. We're gonna go through it. We're gonna go under it. We're gonna go around it. We're gonna go over it, or we're just gonna blow it up. But we're gonna get to the other side, right? That's just the way that I am built. I'm designed. But I think that everyone that is stuck needs to go through exactly the same process. And maybe that's why God brought me through these processes, so that then I can turn back, one hand up, one hand down, and say, look, I've been there, I've done that. Like, I literally totally redesigned my life from what I used to do for 20 years, which is nothing. I mean, nothing compared to what I am able to do now. But it doesn't matter the level of stuckness. I think we need to rediscover, reinvent. We have to reposition in order to relaunch.
Yeah, so it's funny that you say that because I heard this, I think it was actually yesterday, where someone was mentioning, like, if you do feel that way, right, where you're just not happy, whether you're in like real estate or wherever you're at, you're not happy, is the first step is to take an appraisal of your life, right? Like, just review it from A to Z. So maybe that looks like the morning, or from the morning to the night. What is it that you're doing in the day? What's making you unhappy? Like, where are you and where do you want to be? So once you have that appraisal and you really, just like break it down and then break it down some more, then you're able to take, some necessary steps to be able to change that. Because if you're not happy with whatever it is that you're doing, I mean, that's not a good way to live life. So it's time to do something about it.
And I think that being stuck is also a sign of I'm not living to my maximum potential. Being stuck, which leads to frustration and so many other feelings, it's just a sign of I'm not living up to my, ultimate potential. And so, what is on the other side? What is on the other side that I can discover? And a lot of times, listen, I'm going to say it again. It's massive action. You and I have been taking massive action for, oh my God, since January 16th. And then I totally got derailed with my, you know, unexpected situation that I had to just take on, right? Life hit. And, but we've been taking massive action. And now, you know what? I'm sure when we look back, we say we could have done more. We could have done more. There was more that we could have given. But at least now we know what massive action looks like. And like we were discussing yesterday, hey, listen, tomorrow we're back at it. We have to. So it's not a matter of falling. It's not a matter of getting derailed. It's not a matter of not giving it 100%. There's the element of the compound effect. You know, a little bit every day, a little bit every week, a little drop over time will fill up the bucket. One drop on a daily basis. Actually, I don't know. How long would it take a 5 gallon bucket to get full if you're just putting, one drop at a time? How many? We have to look that up, but that's basically the compounding effect. So imagine everything we're doing, right? And everything we've done. It's only making us better. It's only making us more stronger. It's only making us more resilient, more disciplined, more focused, more determined. And you and I were talking about it yesterday. It's like I feel that there's something big coming on because of that compounding effect.
Yes, 100%. And I would also encourage like people to maybe get a notebook or something, because I think they have like habit trackers or something that you can like buy or even make on Canva, just so you can start tracking the things that you're doing and checking it off on a daily basis, because that might be helpful to do that compounding effect where you're on track, whether it's just for a little bit, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever the case may be. You're doing that and you're building momentum.
The other day, you and I were talking about checklists, so let's wrap it up. I knew we were missing something on this. I knew we were missing something on this ageism. I was just feeling it. I just could not identify what it was. Do you realize what we were missing?
The music.
We were missing our music, man. Like me, lights and music, energy, I mean, is everything. And I'm like, there's something just, what's missing? What's missing? And I'm like, oh my God, we're like in a dead spot here, dry spot, a dry spot. So we're talking about being stuck. As a matter of fact, I have a conversation with someone later today, that raised their hand and said that's how they're feeling. Look, you got to go through a discovery session. You have to, just really look back to look forward. You got to audit to then reestablish what you're going to do. And oh my God, no matter what you do, find a way to do it where you're having fun. Find a running partner. Listen, Talia, I know you and I don't always want to do this, but you know what? You hold me accountable. I gave you permission. I said you push me, pull me, drag me, call me. I don't care unless it is like absolutely dire straits that we can't do the pieces in the trenches. But let's run together, and we're feeling the conversations getting better. We're feeling the audience building. We're feeling the comments that we get directly from people. So number one, you have to, if you're stuck, you need to audit. Number two, you have to, set out a new game plan. Number three, you have to find things that are going to be fun to do, even if it's in real estate, which a lot of times it's not that it's going to get boring, but at least you're having fun because you need a running partner. Most people that are stuck in real estate right now are lone wolves. Most people that are stuck are lone wolves, or they're following a path that's stuck as well. So you got to find that winner's circle. You got to find that running partner. You got to find that running mate. You got to make it fun. You got to listen. If you're not following a compelling future, if you're not envisioning a compelling future, oh man. And that's why I say, listen, if anybody could work from home, it's me, because I'm very disciplined, right? But I love coming to our office. I love showing up. The conversation is different. The vibe is different. Even if it's just the huddle, the game plan, to strategize. Do you feel me, Talia? Do you feel me? I mean, working from home, it just doesn't flow for me.
Yeah, I mean, you are your own energy at home. So you can't really feed off of anyone's energy, or even just being in the office. The office in general, whether there's no one here or just you, whatever, the office is a place to work. So that gives off the energy in itself.
Yes. You show up, you feel, and your mind is creating. You got to be in a place where your mind is creating, where you're thinking, where you can mastermind at the drop of a hat. So if you're stuck, raise your hand. Talia just dropped my 15-minute discovery session. Let's have a quick conversation. Like I always say, stop the negative chatter in your mind. Get out of your head. If you're in your head, you're dead. So as soon as you hear me say, oh, okay, 15-minute discovery session, let's just have a quick conversation, your brain is going to say, oh my God, what am I going to say? What is she going to say? She's going to recruit me. Listen, I'm not going to recruit you. I'm not into traditional recruiting. That doesn't work. That is so old school. It no longer works. I can prove it to you. I did it for many years. But there is a new generation of real estate agents that are raising their hands and saying, you know what, I just want to build community. I just want to build community. I just want to be part of a mastermind. I just want to be part of, a different vibe of people that are together going to grow, going to expand, going to innovate. And so we're having fun doing this. And what's the worst that can happen, Tanya? What's the worst that can happen? We don't stop doing this for the next 5 years. What do you think is going to be the worst that can happen?
Nothing.
We enjoyed it. We learned.
Yes, we learned.
We enjoyed the process. We learned about the process. We met people through the process. We've got, stronger colleagues. We are part of a stronger community. We've built a new, a new tribe of trust. There's a new concept, building a tribe of trust. You and I have gone out and met with people that now we can jump on Zooms, we can talk, we can, share what they're bringing to the table and what we're bringing to the table. And together we're better. Together we're stronger. Together we are, unstoppable. So I love it. I absolutely love what I'm doing. I love it. I'm having fun. And I'm so happy you're doing it with me.
Yes, me too. And I just want to say something really quickly before we wrap it up. If you are, having second thoughts, or you want to book a 15-minute session with Lucy, but you're not too sure, let me tell you, I mean, you won't regret it. It's going to reignite you. It's going to get some gears turning in your head, and it's going to help you ultimately. So don't second guess it. Just go ahead and do it. I mean, like Lucy says, what's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst that can happen? It's on the phone, 15 minutes. It's not even on Zoom. I'm not going to bite you. One of two things is going to happen. We're going to have a phenomenal time, or we're simply going to connect and walk away as friends and learn from each other. So book your 15 minutes. I would love to meet you. I would love to learn more about what you're doing in this market. And if there's any way that I could absolutely contribute to you going to that next level, that is my commitment to those 15 minutes. And at the end of the day, we walk away as friends. And now we have met each other and we both won. It's a win-win. It's a win-win.
Awesome.
All right, Sally. Thank you so much. This was another amazing Ages in the Trenches. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Go get it.